If you've been watching the channel for a while, you may have noticed that over the past few weeks we've taken a little bit of a detour with our Sharp Saturday series, and instead of the standard blade reviews, kind of taking a look at some collections of some of my favorite knives in different styles. And one thing that has been conspicuously absent in any of those have been any Schrade knives, and I've had people ask me about that because if you've been following the channel for a while, you may know that we did over 150 knife reviews from Schrade, Old Timer, and Uncle Henry when they were part of the Taylor family, Taylor Brands company. So what I decided to do, instead of mixing those in, was to try to pick out 10 of my favorite Schrade blades that we've reviewed over the years and put them together in this video. And that's what's coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me for another Sharp Saturday video where it's Saturday and we take a look at something sharp. And like I said, today we're going to have several something sharps, all of them Schrade, or we got one Uncle Henry thrown in, but all of them from the Schrade family, all of them from Taylor Brands back when they owned the trademark to Schrade and were making Schrade knives. And I'll try to keep the rambling to a minimum, but I do kind of need to set this up just a little bit because all these knives really have a special place in my heart, because Taylor Brands, the Schrade brand, was the first company to send me anything to review that I didn't have to buy. I was kind of a new channel at the time, and I'd sent off some emails to different companies to say, you know, I'd be interested in reviewing your stuff because, to be honest, my need for content was outpacing my budget to buy stuff. And for the most part, I got a, yeah, you don't call us, we'll call you kind of stuff. And I don't blame them. I mean, I'm sure they get all kinds of requests from anybody that sees YouTube and thinks, I'll start a channel and get a bunch of free stuff, and without really understanding how much work it takes to get to that point. Anyway, having said that, I entered a contest on Facebook and won a Schrade knife. How about that? And so one of the things they asked all the winners to do was post some kind of social media picture or something, you know, to give them a little publicity. So I reached out and said, hey, I've got a YouTube channel. I'll be happy to make a video about it. And they responded to me, I think it was Russell Taylor, and said, hey, how would you like to be the very first person in the world to review this new knife we've got coming out? And I was like, huh? Oh yeah, sure, thank you. Yeah, I wound up being the very first person in the world to review this knife on YouTube, and it started a multi-year relationship with the folks at Taylor Brands. And like I say, I wound up with over 150 different knives reviews videos from them. So we're going to take a look at that first knife and all the rest of them in better detail down at the tabletop here, right after this word from today's video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by my friends at XS Sights, the fastest sight in any light. I've been using XS Sights for a lot of years, and it's really cool to have them as a channel sponsor. XS Sights are made in the USA in the great state of Texas, and you can save 15% on your order at their website by using the coupon code SOP15. Okay, here it is, the very first knife I ever reviewed from Schrade Knives, and as far as I know, I was the first person to review this knife ever, and it's the SCHF42. And believe it or not, a newer version of this is still in Schrade's lineup from the folks at, I think it's Battenfield Technologies, that bought the company from Taylor Brands, their division of Smith & Wesson's outdoor arm or whatever. And this one, they call it now the Extreme Survival Fixed Blade, and pretty nice little knife. It has these notches on the back. Had a lot of discussion about that. People tried to tell me they were saws, tell me they were this, they were that. I said they were decorative. I asked the folks at Taylor Brands about it, and he said, yeah, I don't know, I think they're just for looks, because they thought they looked cool. It's got a nice little choil here and a pretty overmolded handle. It's a full Tang, and then it's got this unique little toolkit on the back inside. It's got a little spring-loaded thing there. Pull that down, pull this tool out. It's got a little strap cutter in here, a string cutter, a screwdriver, a bottle opener, and some other little deals there. And it kind of locks in place. I didn't like it really because it kind of rattles when you're banging it and when you're trying to balance test it. It comes with this little poly sheath, I guess that's what they call it, but it snaps in pretty good. I will say that the new one that they have, the new version, is around 40 bucks on Amazon, and it does not have the little tool with it, so they got rid of that. I think that's good. I think it makes the knife better without it, but that's the first one we're going to look at. And again, this one kind of holds a special place in my heart because this was the first one they sent me. And started a long relationship with the folks at Taylor Brands, who I still say are a bunch of really, really good guys. There's that one. We'll set it there. Now, the next knife we're going to look at is another Schrade knife, and this one a little bigger. And these are really in no particular order or from date or time or anything. But this is it comes with this kind of halyard sheath. I think I got that right. Halyard or Halbert. And this one is the Jethro. I mean, who wouldn't like a knife named Jethro, right? This is a full Tang chopper, and it's kind of almost a cookery design, but it's definitely a chopper. Got a little false edge here. Over-molded, really comfortable handle here. Just, man, I like this thing a whole bunch. It by golly, chops some wood, too. It's got this big old poly sheath with it, so... and by the way, there'll be links to all the original videos on these knives in the video description below, and a link to where you can purchase them if they're still available. And most of those will be Amazon links. But that's the Jethro, and pretty cool knife there. Next on the list is a knife that I have in a sheath that costs more than the knife. The folks at Thai Tactical, well, we'll show you that in a minute. This is the SCHF42M. M stood for micarta. They also had a 52 that just had a standard over-molded kind of a rubber TPE grip. This one, I really liked this knife when it came out. It was a big, honking, full Tang knife, and this one was made out of 1095 carbon steel, which was pretty cool because most of their knives were some kind of CR or something from China. But this one was carbon steel. Now, I think they have this knife now. The new version is all tin steel, and they're calling this one now the Bedrock knife, and it's available for $25 to $45 or so on Amazon, wherever you find it. But this one had a pretty, like a 7-inch blade, big old troll for choking up, and a nice little hook grip back here for when you're chopping. Comfortable handle. I just really like this knife. It was a big, beefy spine. When this came out, it was a really good addition to the Bushcraft knives that were available, in my opinion, at a good price. And then the folks at Thai Tactical, just for a little bonus here, reached out to me and asked me if I'd be interested in having them make a knife sheath for me. So I sent them this one. I sent this knife to them, and they made this knife sheath for it. Now, to be fair, the sheath was probably about $150 or more. It's a super fancy sheath, and the knife cost about $40 or $50 at the time. So the sheath was worth way more than the knife, but I thought it was pretty cool. I'd show it to you. But that's it. That's the SCHF42M. And that was another cool knife that I really liked. Moving right along, next, if you like that big knife, how about this one? This was from Uncle Henry, and this one I just really like because it's Stag handles, and it's a big old Bowie knife. Crocodile Dundee would be happy with this, I'm sure. I just like it. It comes with came with a leather sheath, and it's believe it or not, still available for about $110. Just a very classic, big, gigantic Bowie knife, and I think that's cool. So that was number 4. Next on the list, oh yeah, we got a little smaller knife in there. I tried to mix them up. This one was designed by a guy named Griffin, and last I heard from him, he's living up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. But this was the SCHF55. Really nice little knife. I like the design of it. It's just very compact. Got some nice little jimping here, and just the handle's super comfortable. Nice kind of a hybrid sheath with this is kind of rubber belt loop with a poly sheath, and snaps in pretty good there. A little jimping there, and again, it's a very comfortable little knife. SCHF55. This one is no longer available. It's been discontinued, and my understanding is that, I don't know if it was with Taylor Brands or if it was with the new owners, but Brian Griffin had kind of a falling out and said, please stop making my designs. You no longer have he no longer wanted to make his designs. I don't know what their agreement was, but apparently he was able to do that. So sadly not available anymore. Next, we got another kind of big one with a really cool name. So we looked at Jethro. This is LEROY. And LEROY is another big old Bowie with a really, it looks like that handle might not be comfortable because it's kind of wide, but it really is extremely comfortable. It just works really well in your hand. It's got a choil here for you know, you can kind of choke up and do some sort of detail work because it kind of puts you closer to the balance point. But let's face it, this thing's made for whacking stuff, and it does a real good job of whacking stuff, and it's comfortable and strong. And this again is the LEROY, and it's still available right now for around 50 bucks. So not a bad deal, 50 bucks for that big old hunk of stuff there. It does a good job, and it's got a pretty cool sheath. No ballrick. I think it's ballrick is the right word, but no shoulder strap. This was just a belt sheath, and that is the LEROY. You gotta like a knife named LEROY. Next, this one's way different. It's the only non-fixed blade in here. This was the USA made Schrade Manilla Balisong or folding knife, and this one was kind of a throwback to the Taylor brothers who I dealt with. Their father actually started making knives years ago, and he had a Taylor Manilla folder from decades ago, and this is one of the last knives they made shortly before they sold the company. Made in the USA, which is pretty rare for them. Kind of got a double edge on this side, and it's just pretty stinking cool. Very loose and manipulable if you're doing that stuff. I'm not going to attempt to do that because I don't want to bleed on camera. I know I had some people who apparently are Balisong butterfly knife experts comment on the video that they had the hinge on the wrong side because something, I guess you have to know where that's at so you can know which way to flip this thing. This being a double edge, what you don't want to do is have the blade on your finger like that. When you flip it, you want the blade to be on your hand, I guess like that, right? Like that. I don't know. I don't do that. I've seen these guys at knife shows, and man, they're pretty impressive, but I I would wind up with fingerless. So pretty cool there, but I had to show you that one because it's made in the USA, and I just thought it was pretty cool, and I was very fortunate to get my hands on one of these. So that's the Schrade Manilla folder. Okay, next we've got one of my favorite blades I've ever got from Schrade. And here it is. You can tell right off the way it's pretty good size. If you've ever seen the Book of Eli, you know why I like this one. This is the Priscilla Makira brush sword, and to me it just reminds me a whole lot of the sword that Denzel Washington used in the movie The Book of Eli. And this is designed by Joshua Wagner. It's a full Tang with an overmolded handle, very comfortable handle, nice hook grip back here where you don't lose it, nice belly here for chopping and cutting, but just really well balanced and easy to wield. Got a nice big old sheath here, and this one, by the way, is still available. They're calling this now the Decimate brush sword. And again, this one is around 43 bucks on Amazon right now as the Decimate brush sword. Moving along, either number 9 or I guess this could be number 2, depending on how you're looking at it. Another from Brian Griffin. This is the SCHF42, and at the time I said this was the best knife Schrade ever made, fixed blade. Because it has such a great balance. Brian Griffin is a great knife designer, by the way. I don't think he's doing that anymore, and I wish he was, because he does a great job. This thing feels really good in your hand. It's just absolutely very well balanced. It's a great design. It's a little bit of a recurve, so a lot of people didn't like that, but it doesn't bother me. All you need is a rod to sharpen it. You can't sharpen it on a flat stone, but you use a rod. And then I can't remember who it was, but I had some folks that Randall from UltiClip introduced me to, and one of them was John at Hog Holsters, and we wound up having a relationship and becoming really good friends over the years. I actually bought my Jeep from him, but this company was in California, and I don't remember who it was. They made this sheath for me, and they do a really nice job. But the only problem with it really is that I think they mostly did pistol sheaths, but they this is not really an inside the waistband kind of knife, but at least for me it's not. But it's still a nice sheath. But the blade itself is excellent. So we'll sit that there because that was kind of a 2A, so or 9A, either one. So I said that was the best knife ever, but it has a pretty good bit of a recurve to it. So they came out with the SCHF42D, which is not a recurve, although still has, I guess they just couldn't help themselves. It has a little bit of a recurve right here, but same handle, same everything. Same blade shape and design, except for this no, almost straight. A little more of a recurve here. Now, these handles, by the way, were custom handles I bought from a guy on Facebook. I can't remember who it is, but I know he's not making handles anymore. And then they had an optional leather sheet. So this was the 42D. Again, both these knives are out of production because they're Brian Griffin designs, and I guess they can't make these now. But still, very, very nice knives. And sometimes you can find these on eBay. And then finally, that brings us to number 10 or number 1, depending on how you look at it. And this is one of my favorite Schrade knives ever as well. The SCHF1. And this is a beast. I used to have an SCHF2, which was smaller than this, and I got rid of it. I gave it away. I wish I hadn't, because they quit making them a long time ago, and they quit making this one not too long ago. So it came with a toolkit in the cap here. This is a waterproof, got an O-ring, waterproof one-piece handle here, and I got a little compass in there, which I don't know how accurate that compass is going to be surrounded by steel. And this is just a little first aid kit that came. I mean, a little survival kit they sent out that really sucked, to be honest with you. But the screws in here, it's waterproof. Like I said, it had a little bit set. I don't know why you would need that for an outdoor knife, a wood knife, but it's all one piece of steel, which I thought was pretty stinking cool. And I think this was 1070. I can't remember, but it's very beefy. It's got a nice big solid handle, and came with this sheath with a little pouch on it and everything. So this knife was around $100 when it was new, somewhere around $100. Barely, just under $100 really. Now, because it's been discontinued, and it is such, I don't know why it's such a popular knife. I don't know why they discontinued. I guess they weren't selling enough of them, but I found these things on eBay starting at $200. Starting at $200. They're probably the most solid hollow handle knife out there, unless you spend thousands of dollars for a Chris Reeves or something like that. And that's the SCHF1, which is, if not my favorite knife, it's certainly one I will not get rid of, for sure. I don't think I'll get rid of any of these, to be honest with you. And then finally, just a little bonus, because you know me. Since we looked at this one, we'll look at its little sister, we'll call it. And this is the SCHF21 boot knife. And see, it's got the very solid clip here, and it's got a little push button retainer here. It's got a notch there and a notch on here that clips in. And this again is a one-piece knife with a hollow handle. So you could put whatever you can fit in there. I guess you could probably put some matches in there. You could put a you might need some band-aids in here. This thing is not too dull. And this is obviously, this is not really a woods knife. This is designed for one thing and one thing only, and that is hokey stuff. So we'll leave it at that. It snaps in very well and got a nice retention. If you got it clipped like in your boot, for example, you can just reach down, push that, and it pulls right out. SCHF21. Now this one is sort of available now on from Schrade Knives. It is one piece steel, as best I can tell. From it doesn't say on their product descriptions on the website, because their product descriptions are kind of vague, but it looks like it's one piece as best I can tell. I've looked at a couple other videos about the new one. It looks like it's one piece, and they're calling the new one the Extreme Survival Slim Fixed Blade, and it's around I don't remember what it costs. I'm gonna say it's around $40–50. But it's very, very, very pokey, and it's cool too. So I like it. Obviously, that's why it's in this video. So,
ghosts sit around the campfire and tell Chuck Norris stories.
Okay, well, from not so big to not so little, that was some of my favorite Schrade knives of all times. And a lot of people have told me they enjoy these kind of videos. If that's you, stick around, because coming up soon, we're going to take a look at some favorite axes, favorite tomahawks, maybe one or two videos there, I'm not sure. Some favorite neck knives, favorite fighting or tactical knives, self-defense knives, favorite multi-tools, and if you got anything else you'd like to see, let me know. And if you don't want to miss any of that, make sure you're subscribed and make sure you click that little notification button so YouTube will maybe let you know when I put out a new video. I put out a new Sharp Saturday video pretty much every Saturday, but YouTube doesn't like me, I don't think. So anyway, I hope this video has been helpful, and I really sincerely appreciate you watching. Remember, survival is not an accident. Be prepared. I'll see you next time.